Hello, welcome back. Donnie Swaggart had always considered his relationship with his son Gabriel one of the strongest parts of his life. They weren't just family, they were spiritual partners, working side by side in their ministry and presenting a united front grounded in faith and love. But something had shifted recently. Whispers had started, and soon those whispers turned into loud conversations filled with allegations about Gabriel, accusations of financial misconduct and personal behavior that didn't align with the values they preached. What started as distant rumors began creeping into their inner circle, making people question the integrity of their ministry. Donnie found himself caught between the image of the son he trusted and the harsh reality these rumors were beginning to paint. For a long time, he tried to ignore them, holding onto his belief in Gabriel's character. But as the doubts grew louder and the ministry's credibility came under threat, Donnie knew he couldn't stay silent anymore. The burden of the situation weighed heavily on him. The man who had led thousands in faith was now struggling to navigate his own doubts as a father. After many long nights filled with prayer and restlessness, he made a difficult decision. He had to confront Gabriel, not with accusations, but with the honest desire to know the truth. They arranged a private meeting, away from prying eyes and judgment. When they finally sat together, the silence between them was heavy. Donnie spoke first, not with anger but with quiet urgency. He needed to understand what was going on and how his son had become the center of such painful rumors. Gabriel hesitated at first, caught between the shame of his actions and the love he still had for his father and their mission. But finally, he spoke. His words were careful, his tone filled with regret. He admitted to lapses in judgment, decisions he never thought would spiral out of control, yet somehow did. Gabriel's voice trembled as he confessed that while some of the accusations had been stretched or misrepresented, there was truth in parts of them. He had made mistakes not out of malice, but out of pressure, confusion, and being overwhelmed. His choices had damaged not just his own reputation, but that of their ministry and family. Donnie listened, pained and conflicted. He wasn't just hearing from his son, he was hearing from a fellow leader who had let their shared responsibility falter. Still, through all the disappointment, his heart held space for love. As a father, he wanted to believe redemption was possible. As a leader, he knew accountability was essential. He asked Gabriel hard questions, not to punish him, but to understand the depth of the situation and what needed to happen next. When the conversation ended, neither of them had all the answers, but they both knew things couldn't continue as they had. The truth was out, and so was their responsibility to respond. Should Gabriel step away for a time? Should they address the congregation directly? They didn't know exactly how to move forward, but they agreed they had to do it together and with honesty. Yet despite their effort to keep things quiet, word got out. Church members picked up on the tension, whispers turned to chatter, and soon social media and church groups were abuzz. Some supporters stood by Gabriel, speaking of grace and redemption, while others felt betrayed by the secrecy and the nature of the allegations. Donations dropped. Elders began asking questions. The ministry, once held together by a solid reputation, now felt like it was hanging in the balance. Donnie, already carrying the weight of personal pain, now had to deal with public scrutiny. The expectations were immense from within the church, the leadership team, and the public eye. Every move would be analyzed, and any misstep could cost them not just support, but trust. He retreated into deep reflection, revisiting the early days when Gabriel had first followed in his footsteps. Full of passion and sincerity, that memory became both a source of pain and strength. Donnie knew he couldn't rewrite the past, but he could decide how they handled the future. He believed that true leadership wasn't about appearing flawless, it was about showing courage in the face of brokenness, owning mistakes, and choosing a path of humility and truth. Eventually, Donnie addressed the congregation. He didn't give them every detail, but he didn't sugarcoat the struggle either. His voice was steady as he spoke about leadership, failure, truth, and healing. He asked for unity, for patience, and most importantly, for grace. As he spoke, Gabriel sat quietly among the congregation, the weight of his actions still fresh, but the sight of his father standing tall giving him hope. The road ahead would be long. There were no shortcuts to rebuilding trust, but they were ready to face it together with truth as their guide and faith as their foundation.